We've got five, four, three. Hi. So I'm hoping that we're live now on YouTube. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We were just talking about weather in England. It's very miserable here at the moment. What's it like in Vancouver?
Well, it's cold and it's not raining, so that's great. It's supposed to
Always a
be sunny
plus.
today, but we've lucked out and had this stretch of sunny weather, even though it's been very cold. And we did get, I don't like to call it snow because I've lived further north in my province, and that snow down here we got like a little dusting of snow. It's gone now. It's gone. It's just a decoration. It just looks
Just a
like construction.
decoration, a Christmas
Yeah.
sprinkling of
A
snow.
Christmas sprinkling. But yeah, I'm going to assume that our weather is probably pretty similar at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty windy today. Actually, it's been blown a leaves gale everywhere. So we doing our first live together. Hopefully, the first of many live chats that we can do about podcasting because I love talking to you about podcasting. Just a little bit about ourselves to start with. I'm Rachel. I'm a podcast manager from the UK, and I started about 18 months ago. So I'm still fairly new to the podcast game, but I'm hosting my second podcast, Podcasting 101 with Rachael. My first one was aimed at virtual assistants. And as I pivoted my business, I decided I wanted to do something more aimed at the podcast to help people in podcasting. And I met the lovely Jennifer through my lovely clients and friends, Hannah Nicole from Showing Up Solo. Thank you, Hannah Nicole, for the intro. Jennifer was on their podcast and I absolutely loved the episode. So I got in touch and here we are. So over to you, Jennifer. Tell us a little bit about you.
I just love the fact that, and this is like that you're in England and I'm in Canada, and I love the fact that we're able to talk about podcasting because it's great because it is, even though it's been around and everyone thinks that everyone's talking about podcasting, which they are, it is still in the grand scheme of things relatively newish, even though it's about like 10, 15 years old. So it's neat to meet other people that do it. So I'm excited about this. My background is traditional broadcasting. So I've been a traditional broadcaster for over 10 years. I currently do some of it still. So if you're in Vancouver, sometimes you'll hear me from the traffic helicopter or the traffic airplane. So I always call it just my fun aircraft side hustle. So I do that, and then I help businesses do podcasts. So very much what Rachel does in England, I do here in Canada. So that's a little bit about me.
So we just thought we'd come on and challenge ourselves to live. Hannah and Nicole will be very pleased with us.
Oh yes, yes, we're learning. This is my second live
Yeah.
I've ever done.
Yeah. And yeah, just to talk a little bit about the benefits of podcasting. But first, we wanted to just talk a little bit about what podcasts are. Because, like Jennifer was saying, they have been around for a long time now. And even they're making it is like the new cool thing to have a podcast. And I think some people maybe don't understand what they are and what their purpose is and how they can benefit your business. So, and I love Jennifer's perspective from a broadcasting perspective. So, do you want to just the comparison between people think like radio programs are essentially podcasts?
Yeah, for me, this is totally my opinion, but podcasting is broadcasting because at the end of the day, your equipment is just different and where you're transmitting is different. So, like, obviously, with traditional radio, it's very localized to your community, opposed to podcasting. Anyone can hear your podcast because it's on the internet. Radio too, I guess you can kind of hear anywhere, but again, if you're going to tune in on online, it is going to be very localized to like Vancouver or wherever you are because that's what radio is. Radio is to get your message out about your local communities and join that. Podcasting is really cool because you can do a plethora of topics and it can be interests of people that are all around the world. So even though they have different types of audiences and they're transmitting to different places, um, everything is still very similar. Everything I learned in broadcasting on the way you structure your break, to who you're talking to, that one-to-one communication. Like my favorite thing I read in or learned in radio was that you're not talking to thousands or millions of people. You could be, but you always want to make sure you're talking to one person at a time because you really want that one-to-one communication. Because if you're talking to somebody in their car or on the bus, you want them to make sure that they feel like you're including them. So then that way you have a more engaging story. Same thing with podcasting.
Mhm.
Even though you might be the Joe Rogan of podcasts and talking to like millions of people,
Yeah.
he still talks to one person at a time. It's still that one-to-one communication because he draws you in to his story and to his guests. So you always want to have that. So there is a lot of correlation between broadcasting and podcasting, and that's what I like to bring to the table. And of course, a lot of voice work too, so you can sound conversational and at ease when you're speaking into the mic.
Yeah, it's it's hard when you first start sometimes to get that conversation list going, especially if you're doing solo episodes and you've not done any of that before. It is easier with a guest because you can bounce off some of their energy as well, and it kind of relaxes you after a while. But I think you get better over time. And but I love what you're saying about talking to one person, because for me, when I first kind of like discovered podcasting, that is like my favorite thing about the podcast, is that you really feel that they're talking to you, and you don't feel like they're addressing like randomly loads of people. It's, it's all there to talk to you about the thing that you're interested in. And yeah, that's a one thing I really love about that.
Yeah. If you listen, like just like the biggest thing I tell people is do their homework first. So even if you listen to radio or you listen to podcasts, really listen to the top people because you'll hear that they'll be using the word you and really pointing the topic towards you, opposed to like some people that, and again, everyone has to learn. I was not good at this when I started my journey. Some people will be like they or try to include everyone, but it's not that you're not trying to include everyone. You want everyone to feel special. And
Mm.
that's why they listen because if you're talking to a huge group of people, you still want to make sure that that one person feels special or everybody in that group feels special.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we were thinking about the benefits of podcasting for your business. So both you and I have slightly different types of clients. You tend to work with bigger businesses and universities. Is that right? And then mine are kind of aimed at solopreneurs and like business owners that have like small business owners, online business owners. But the benefits for the businesses are from using a podcast are, the similar, are the same benefits that you can get. So one thing that I think is, I'm trying to think of my top one. I just think it's a great way for people to get to know you, because it's so personal, like adding to the thing where you're the one, they're talking to the one person, you're talking to them in their ear. I think that it's a really good way to showcase what you're talking about and for them to get to know you in the journey, and like a stepping stone for them to either investing in your company or feeling part of a university or all those kind of things. You're getting that across in the medium that you're using.
Yeah, for me, it's about just having your authentic voice. And what I like the fact is that a lot of the people that do the business podcasts, they're actually telling you what their business is about through stories and not in a salesy way. And it's coming straight from their mouth, who's the expert. And so instead of having beautiful photos on Instagram and other platforms of your products or of your services, you're adding another layer onto it because like you have those audiograms that have the little moving bar and then a piece of gold from a podcast, whatever that might be. And so then that way you're adding another layer to showing like why you're an expert in your field.
Yeah, that's a big one, I think, and it helps, building your brand awareness. You're becoming more visible to an audience, and like we talked about, podcasts reaching everywhere across the globe. It is a way to reach new markets that potentially, I mean, I know with social media, the reach is pretty wide in social media as well now that we've got like global platforms. But I think with podcasting and with it becoming so much more popular, and the growth of the podcast market in the last few years, I think especially since COVID has had a big impact upon that. that you are reaching more people listen to podcasts, more people are there are people out there that want to listen to all types of content.
Yeah. Well, it's an easy thing to throw on because you don't necessarily, yeah, there's visual podcasts, but you don't need that visual element to get the story. You can listen to it anywhere. It's the only type of medium that you can listen to anywhere because you can't look at a photo while you're driving and you can't look at a video while you're driving. Well, you shouldn't. I know that there are people out there that have
Yeah.
seen them in their car, but it's a piece of marketing that you can essentially have anywhere, and people can put it into their car, and even like advertisements are a great thing too. Like a lot of podcasts have advertisements or even have sponsors. So maybe even if you don't want to have your own podcast, that's a great way to either get yourself on as a guest or get yourself a sponsorship or get yourself a commercial, because again, then your business is kind of being showcased on a popular platform opposed to some things that maybe people don't necessarily do anymore or really follow along with.
That's true, actually. Yeah, getting on, being looking at getting on as a guest on other people's podcasts is a great way if you haven't got the capacity to create your own to increase your visibility. Getting on the right type of podcasts is a really good maybe other option to you if you really like the podcast but you can't kind of do it in your business at the moment. I know somebody that's really helped her visibility getting on strategically, can't pronounce it, looking at different podcasts and getting on those, and it's really a really great gateway to a new and wider audience.
Actually, I heard a really good piece of advice from someone, and was the fact that if you're not sure if you want to start podcasting, because they are a big commitment, get yourself onto other podcasts because as a guest for a first while and see if you even like it. So I thought that was a really great piece of advice, is get yourself onto other podcasts
Yeah.
as a guest and kind of get the feel for it and then decide if your business is going to have one or not.
Yeah, that's true. That is a really good piece of advice. And you kind of get started with getting in the flow of talking to somebody and hearing your own voice and all those kind of things. And then a little, I suppose you get a little peek behind the curtain as well, getting to know some podcast hosts and things like that. So it would give you a good idea of what it would be like.
And
So,
that's what I always tell people too. My big piece of advice is just try it out for the first few times. See if it's something you like, even if you don't release the episodes. Get your microphone, get set up, get your scripts, get everything ready. Try it, because if you're doing episode 4 and you're like, I hate this, there's no point of
yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want to find that out before you commit to a season or commit to starting a podcast because, yeah, you don't want to do that. That's a really good piece of advice. Yeah, just switch on your recorder, record yourself, listen back, and then. But one thing is, everyone hates the sound of their own voice to begin with. You just get used to it and get over it. I know I did.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. So I actually started off in film acting and a long time ago, and you have to watch all the pieces that you do, and so you listen back. And even nowadays, even though I've heard my voice a billion times on the radio and everything, still after being a professional for so long, I still don't like the sound of my own voice. So I don't think, and I actually talked to somebody that was a professional before. They said you'll never like the sound of your own voice. I think it's just it's us. It's nothing bad. Like I know I have a good voice. I'm not putting myself down or anything like that, but I think you just still don't get used to it.
Yeah, I sometimes listen back and I say so many times and I'm like, oh my God, just shut up. But I still think that I enjoy the process and I enjoy making my podcast and getting it out there and knowing hopefully people are listening to it and getting some benefit from it and helping somebody. So that's how it could work for your business. So there's just some benefits there that you could have for starting a podcast. We're just going to do a little short live today. So thanks for coming and chatting with. It's lovely. It's always lovely to talk to you, Jennifer.
Oh,
So we'll have.
lovely to talk to you. And we're just getting our feet wet. We hope to do more.
I know. I was going to say I could. I was itching to talk about more stuff. So we'll have to come back with more lives from both of us, and we'll catch you soon.
Sounds great. Okay, thank you so much, Rachel. I love talking
Okay.
to you.
Yeah, me too. Bye.